Hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samia Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. I am your host, Samia Burton, and welcome to the show. So I'm super excited because I have a sex symbol on the show today. A sex symbol. It is my best friend. Degion. Say hello, Degion.
What's good? Glad to be here. From one sex symbol to another sex symbol. It's about damn time. It's about time.
It's about time, y'all. I feel like for the first little bit of this show, it's gonna be a lot of. It's about time, girls.
Yes.
It's about time, and it feels good. It feels good to for people to be like, I told you so.
It feels good to be here and actually see it and feel the energy in the room because we've been talking about this for quite some time now.
Quite some time. The things and the feelings that he's talking about is one. This is my show, you know.
Yo, shit.
My shit. You know, but also this is my set. We are shooting today at Something Extraordinary Content House, the SE Content House, owned by me, and I'm super excited. I think we look pretty nice. This looks nice. The rust and the color coordination.
It's coming together. It's coming together for sure. It's looking really, really good.
It's beautiful. Before we get started into this episode, make sure you help us pay some bills. Check out our merch on the website. Today I have on the Negativity Makes Your Pussy Dry crew neck. Don't wear it to work, but put it in your closet, okay? Wear it somewhere social. So yes, I love this crew neck. And we're going to get started with the show. I'm very excited to have you today.
Glad to be here.
Yes. So let's get into the adult tip of the day. So the adult tip of the day is something to help us be a little bit more responsible, taking adulthood in bite-sized pieces and making it a little bit easier to digest, whether that's my therapist says, or here's a little life hack, and sometimes a quote or two to make you more responsible. Well, today's is a little serious. I'm not going to lie to y'all. If somebody was to drop dead right now, I would not know what to do. If they was to stop breathing, I wouldn't know what to do or any of that. And I realized like we're getting to an age where we're the responsible ones in the room. And so today's adult tip of the day are the signs of a stroke. And I know it's like, well, damn, that was a little turn, but it's not just another sex podcast. So we don't just talk about sex. It's supposed to be a fun way for us to be accountable, be responsible, address trauma, have fun, talk about sex. That's what real life actually encompasses. So ask yourself, if somebody was to have a stroke right now, would you know what to do? In real life, if someone has a surgery, according to my Grey's Anatomy knowledge, if they have a stroke in 3 hours, if the doctor can get to them, they can reverse all the side effects. And even if that's not true, strokes are dangerous. People die and people have life altering like effects afterwards. And just ask yourself, like, for real, do you know? And so the signs are fast. That's how you remember. Fast. Boom, 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 boom. Face. Smile and see if one side of the face droops. Arms, raise both arms. Does one arm drop down like they can't keep their arms up? S is speech. Say a short phrase and check for slurred or strange speech. And T, time. If the answer to any of these is yes, call 911 right away. And that's just the truth. I do want to be more accountable because I am the adult in the room now. I think sometimes we forget that we're the adults.
We all do.
Yes.
And it's important to know those things because I didn't know those things. I've never seen somebody had a stroke in real time in front of me. So it's just good to know that type of information because we grow up and then we think to ourselves like, yo, we're the adults now. real shit. We are the adults now. So we got to be a little bit more responsible in knowing these things and planning them out or knowing how to deal with them when you do encounter them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I hope that we put a little spin on it and you can just, be a little accountable and maybe look, if you did know that one, maybe look up something else, brush up on your CPR or something like that. So, all right, that was the adult tip of the day. Now we're going to move on to the Twitter talk.
Let's talk about it.
I don't know about y'all, but I am definitely at a point where staying home is one of my favorite places to be. It's where I'm the most comfortable. But also at this age, it's where I want to feel the most sensual. So how do I get both? Sexual Essentials thigh-high socks have been amazing. First of all, they actually are made for thick thighs as well. So they go all the way up to my lady parts. So I put them on with a pair of boy shorts or cute undies, crop top, or a large t-shirt. And I'm in the mirror taking selfies and I just can't get enough of it. I'm super obsessed. So they have 5 colors and we want you to get 15% off as our loyal listeners. So make sure that you use code NJASP, you know, the initials of the podcast, and you're going to get 15% off your entire order. The link can be found below, or you can check the link in our bio on any of our social medias so that you can get your pair of socks before your color sells out today. All right, now back to the show. All right, Twitter Talk is a segment that we did to pay homage.
You need to get this right.
I'm trying. One episode. All right.
Somebody hold up flashcards next time.
To Black Twitter. Because almost every viral or controversial topic or good tweet, if you say something that's real profound, it's going to surface. It usually starts with Twitter and it ends up on Instagram, ends up on TikTok and whatever. So this segment of the show is called Twitter Talk. And today's is a tweet that I saw and it actually reminded me of you. So I thought it would be good for this episode. I don't care what y'all see me accomplish. I still need the help. I still need the support. I still need the guidance. I still need the encouragement. There's no level I'll ever reach where I don't need these things. And y'all know I'm a real sentimental edge bitch. So in all honesty, when I think about like my best friend, it doesn't matter what levels that I hit, being acknowledged by my friends, them supporting me and being my cheerleader, it never changes, no matter how used to it, no matter how used to getting on set I am or any of those things. And I know with our friendship, you're more an internal person. So you don't really need those things. Now, nobody else knows. Put the mic to you. Nobody else really knows. But I know that you don't really need those things. But I know that I still love like being proud of you and giving you your flowers and stuff like that, which I gave you some actual flowers before.
I appreciate it. They were my favorite color. For
the episode today. Men don't receive physical flowers all the time, but my best friend just had a birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Appreciate you.
And I just wanted to let you know, I love you.
Love you too.
Now we got it on record. I'll never have to say it again. So we're going to get into these topics. So Degion has been my friend for 12 years?
13.
13?
Yeah.
You sound old.
Nigga, I am old.
We met in college. We both went to FAMU.
College Club.
Yes, College Club. That's college Florida Club. A&M University.
Yeah, shout out to the Rattlers.
Yes, on the illustrious highest of 7 hills. Yes. And I don't even know when I realized you was like this is my dog. Like, I don't know if it was us having them big gallons of wine and large pots of spaghetti.
The Carlos
Rossi.
That's all we used to drink.
All we used to drink was Carlos Rossi. We just knew we was some wine drinkers. Degion was telling you were the first man that I met that was so proud about being a gentleman.
That's true. I guess you could say that's true. Yeah. You
were one of the first people that were very proud about being a gentleman. And he was like, yeah, men drink wine and this good wine and stuff like that. We couldn't afford good wine though, so we drank Carlos Rossi. It was red and it went in a glass. We used to do potluck meals. Like if he would cook and we would bring the wine, or I would cook and you would bring the wine.
We'd be having game nights too.
Game nights, music, the same way that I am as an adult, I really was in college.
Yeah.
We definitely was hanging out at our apartment all the time. But one day I looked up and we were grown-ups, we were adults, and this man had been in my life for 13 years. And that's crazy. So this episode is a little bit of that journey, especially in a world where everybody is constantly saying, men and women can't be best friends. If they best friends, something has happened between them. They fucking on the side and stuff like that. And I'm just like, that's just not true.
Right.
That's just not true. And so, like, what do you say to stuff like that? I know you hear it all the time, but you have plenty of female friends.
I'm pretty sure that has been said about me and you probably 1,000,000 times. But you know me, I don't get caught up in that type of thing. And for me, as a man, I thirst for a feminine energy. I like being around it because I was raised around it. I was raised by a single parent. That's not to say that I don't have any masculinity because I spent half my life being raised by my uncle.
Right.
So I got to see both, you know, feminine and masculine energy. But for one, that's one thing I like to be. Feminine energy for me is something that keeps me centered and humble and grounded. And that's why I like to be around it. And also with you, you've always been a feminine person. Got a little thug in you.
What?
Yeah, you do. And because I can't be around you long if I don't sense it in you. So you've always had it. That's the thing.
Why you always? You know what?
I give you a hard time about it.
When I tell you, like, even I wear camos on purpose just to fuck with him because he always say, "Yeah, you know you a nigga." That's what he say to me all the time. But it's so funny because Degion is one of those people that will mess with me about things. But when it's in the heat of the moment and it matter, he'll tell the truth. He'll be like, "Actually,
yeah, that's me.
You so unnecessary. Why you extra?"
You know, this is just a part of my personality. I don't like to hold punches. I like to be very, very honest and transparent with people. I like to joke lightly, but when there's a serious situation, you know, I'm gonna have to let you know, like, look, like Samia, like, you need to do this. Or I think you should do this. But if you don't do it, I'm not upset at you, but I just want you to know as your friend, I'm going to let you know that I think that this is the way you need to go about things or lean into this direction.
Yeah. When it comes to like advice and things like that, Degion has always been a great sounding board for me because I don't have a lot of male energy in my life. And I feel like he shows up as a man regardless, like whether you're his friend or not, like he treats you the same, you know, like
right.
Always shows up just a very grounded person, actually. And there are two instances where I'm just like, I trust you for sure. When I started Sexual Essentials, I told him what I want to do. He said, "Yep, do it. When you starting?" I make the look. What we got to do? What do we have to do? There was that, and then
because when somebody tells me something, I'm the type of person. If you tell me something, I'm gonna be like, "No, that's not you.
That ain't it."
But if it is for you, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, you need to lean on that." I have a talent to look at people and say, "All right, this goes well with you," and you know, I used to be a teacher. So when cultivating students and shit like that, you could see when a student has a natural ability to gravitate towards this particular area and you kind of try to push them in an organic way without saying like, hey, you need to do this. And it was the same with you. When you told me that you wanted to do this, I'm like, hell yeah, that's you. But if it wasn't you, I would have let you know.
Yeah.
You know this very well.
And then, of course, the second one was me coming out with starting SE Media Group.
SE Media Group, yeah.
And it was something that I really thought about and everything. But when I told him the whole picture, he's like, absolutely, you got to do it like this. And I've learned to trust his judgment about a lot of things. And what's crazy is that there are a lot of times I have not. Trusted.
We could have been here 5 years ago. I just want you to know. We could have been on this podcast 5 years ago.
Divine timing.
But that's the thing is just that I can't force you to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing just yet.
Right.
And it's to this point that I'll plant the seed and I'll water it. And you'll naturally, organically figure the shit out because sometimes you need to go through shit to actually realize like, oh, I need to do this for myself. Yeah. So I didn't want you to do it for me, even though I saw it in you. Right. I need you to realize that this is for you. And this is a form of you putting yourself first because there's more to Samia than Sexual Essentials. There's more to Samia than educating people about sex. So when we talked about the podcast, it was just like, yo, this is your world. You can do anything you want. They can't shut you down. Yeah. You can make this. This is your world. This is Samia's world. If you wanna pull a Bentley truck up into this podcast, you could do it if you want. It may sound crazy and ignorant, but that's the beauty of having a platform where you can pretty much come up with anything.
Full creative control
in a nutshell.
I want to know, is it difficult for you to watch a friend make mistakes? I know that our lives are very different. And one of the things that, I'm very honest about is I've made a lot of mistakes. And when I think, and I'm not going to call my marriage a mistake, but it was definitely something that didn't have to happen.
Right.
It was a result of where I was at that time. And yes, a lot of beautiful things, especially my son, came from that. But like you said, as a teacher, which is also, that's a trait of parenthood, watching your child sometimes having to make mistakes, watching your students have to make mistakes. And then now you're in a long-term friendship with me, and I know you've had to watch me make some mistakes. And so what is it like on that other end? Because I know you try to give me, like, I respect what you said, even though I see the bigger picture and you don't see it yet. So I guess what is that like for you? Like, when did you realize, like, okay, she not... Because, we had a whole scenario last year where I want y'all to know that
You had to cuss out.
Degion cursed me out. I mean, he went off. He was like, look, you was fucking around. You is amazing. And you need to be it. He was like, you need to stop fucking with these type of people. This, like, I don't. And like he said, he jokes with me all the time, but I don't always catch that he's joking. And sometimes he's like, okay, you're really not. You really don't see it.
Yeah, you ain't catching on.
And he will sit you down and be like, look, this is what's wrong with this. This is why it's doing this. And I'm telling, like, I let you do this for so long. But it's so crazy because I think about it, I made bigger mistakes. Like, it's so crazy because you never spoke up like, this is not a good marriage for you. But he did speak up when it was like, you know what, your purpose, though, you can't play around with it no more. It's time to fucking get to it.
There you go. That's the key word right there. When it gets in the way of your purpose, because I'm a sole believer that you put your purpose before anything.
Yeah.
Anything, you put your purpose before anything. And to answer your question, is it difficult for me to watch you make mistakes? It's not difficult because it never changes your character. And for me, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You could be broke Samia, you could be sexual essential Samia. Not you could
broken sex.
But here's the thing: if it doesn't change your character, then I'm always show up for you in the way that you need me to show up. Because that's how I judge you at the end of the day, is based on your character. So you could keep making these mistakes, but also, I know you'll eventually rectify those mistakes. It may take a little bit longer than I want it to be, but you do eventually say, oh shit, like, damn, like, I should have did this. I'm like, nigga, I've been trying to tell you that for months.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is I love to see it, because this, when I say that we should have been here 5 years ago, to see it
come to fruition
and be here, the room, the vibes, it feels right.
I feel like there's definitely that's something that I aspire to do with my friends. I know I don't always play that role as like being the visionary. Like, I think all my friends, you can't tell me shit about my friends. I think they're all amazing. But I love that patience that you have, because you can't tell people to do stuff like, no, that ain't what you need to be doing. Like, if they don't believe it and they don't see it, then you need to let them work that out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for me, I've always been a fixer. And so I feel like just being friends with a grounded person teaches me, like, you don't have to fix things. Let people come into it in their own time. But I feel like that's one of even a masculine trait, letting people, like men speak up, I feel like when they have to. Like,
right.
they're going to let you do what you're doing. And then, but once it get too far, they're going to be like, hey, all right, now this is how it needs to be done. Hell, I've had meeting with you with other women, like for work, and then you'll let us go on, throw out ideas out there, and then after you get two out there, you be like, okay, let's bring it in.
Yep.
What we need is this person to do this. What we need this person to do this, and I love that about, like, just being around men. Period. So, like, when it goes back to that conversation of men and women can't be friends, there are a lot of things in my life that I need that don't require a man to be my man. I require masculine energy in my life. Just because it doesn't have to be a dating situation. And I feel like, if anything, it's not just men that sexualize women. Women absolutely sexualize men.
Right.
To the point that it's mostly women that have always asked me, are you and Degion dating? Are y'all doing this? And it's like, no other men ask me that.
That's a good point, because I could agree with that.
I've never had a man ask me.
Yeah, I've never had a dude ask me, but it's always the women that I encounter that ask me, you and somebody? I'm like, nah. No.
Like, you've never seen anything that even looks like that.
Yeah.
And I think that, if anything, just I sometimes I think that men are responding to women sexualizing them, but it's just not the case. My name is Samia, and I'm the host of Not Just Another Sex Podcast, and I might look familiar to you because I'm also the owner of Sexual Essentials. One of the main things that I was known for was teaching people how to do the skills that they need to have a great sex life. That means I teach master classes in Dick Riding 101, masturbation and squirting, and the infamous Mouth Master class. So what we're doing today for our listeners is giving you 50% off any class of your choice with the code NJASP. That's just the, initials of the name of the podcast if you can't remember. But use the link below or any of the links in our bio so you can take advantage of this offer. All right, now back to the show. So I've always teased you about all your friends rich. All your friends, if you think about if I take Degion's 5 closest friends, you got some doctors in there, you got some millionaire entrepreneurs in there, you got top of the line real estate agents, I was like, damn, Degion, do you have any broke friends? He was like, no. And he's like, I don't want any broke friends. I was like, damn, that's hella.
That's not fun.
He was like, that's not fun. And I'm like, damn, that's hella superficial. He was like, is it? He was like, at a certain point, if I'm leveling up, the people around me, I feel like Degion takes an equation, a mathematical approach to life.
I'm practical.
Very practical.
Very practical in every sense, and I know myself very, very well. So if I know that in this area, this is a strength of mine, or this is something that I need, or it's maybe a love language in a sense, then I need to put myself in the position to be close to that or around that all the time. Because if I'm not around that, I'm going to feel comfortable. Yeah. And if I'm uncomfortable, and if I'm uncomfortable, then I don't trust my environment. I don't trust the people around me. So for me, it's a matter of when you're around people who have an abundance, not money, just an abundance of something that could benefit you in your life. I like to be around that because they may not view it as an abundance, but I do. It's kind of like how you view me in a sense. You say I'm very grounded, and you may view that from an abundance perspective, that I can give you that that middle ground, that even keel.
It doesn't really take from you because you have so much. That's just
but
it's
the thing
natural
is
for you.
Because it's me, so it doesn't feel like that I'm giving that to you. But when you're around that, you get that from me right off the bat because it's just who I am. Yeah. I don't have to extend extra energy being something that I'm not, because I show up as who I am, which is a benefit to you because it keeps you grounded in some type of sense, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I've also noticed that outside of your friends just all making major money, they're all very different. They're all very different. So what are the things that you do look for in friendship? Because whatever it is that you're looking for, almost all of your friends you've been friends with for 10 plus years. Not saying that I don't have that, but as a man, the people that I watch how particular you are.
I'm very picky.
And I tell everybody all the time, I love a picky man. I love my best friend. I think that's great for him. And I watch how he doesn't get into the same issues that I get into when I wasn't so damn picky. So I'm like, okay, this is something that I can learn from. And I feel like that's where I learned it. I have parents. Yes, I had a dad, but I do not look up to, that's not how I'm picking a man, right. And so I feel like not surrogates, but finding other masculine figures in my life that I can say, I respect that, I can look up to that, that kind of thing. So what are and for those listening, whether that be men or women, what are the traits that you think are most important to you? Because whatever it is that you're doing it right. And you're still allowing people to be who they are. So what is it that's important to you? Whatever your values are.
I mentioned the first one already. The first one was character. I think the second thing, if I had to name it, it would be self-accountability. I think that's so key because to me, self-accountability shows that you're able to realize you did something that may have offended me or maybe another friend or et cetera, and then realizing okay, I messed up, but I'm going to acknowledge that I messed up. I fucked
mistake.
Up. I fucked up. I clearly fucked up in this situation. And I'm like, you know what? You didn't have to do that. Because I know a lot of motherfuckers will sit there and fuck some shit up and then
act like they never had
the fuck out of you. Bro, I just seen that shit. So for me, And to me, that's a form of self-care. That's a form of self-growth, self-accountability, because that's one of the hardest shit to do is hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And that's key to me. I think number 3 is knowing how to put others first. And I say this, if I had to date a woman, I have to see like motherly skills. You don't have to be a mother, but when you have motherly skills, you put others before you in certain situations.
And how does that work with men? Are you looking for like a fatherly skill in them as well?
From a man standpoint, I'm gonna take one for the team.
Okay, so still the same thing. No, I got what you're saying. No, not take one for the team.
I know this is not another sex podcast, but I ain't me. So, taking one for the team, like, understanding, like, look, like, I know you got a lot of shit going on, so I'll do this for you.
Yeah.
Like, to me,
that's what it looks like in a masculine and
it's not
feminine.
that I need that all the time. It's just knowing when to do it. And it's just like, yo, that was so clutch. Like, you clearly saw, because I'm the type, I'm not going to ask for help. Like, I will do shit on my own, and I will stress, and I will be under pressure, and I will eventually get it done. And the thing is, it's just like, when somebody be like, yo, like, let me take some of that work from you. And I'd be like, no. Really? You mean it? Because if it's somebody new doing it to me, I'm probably going to say no.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that I've developed a bond with over a period of time, that means I trust you to some extent, and it makes me more comfortable opening up and allowing you to take stuff off my table.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like it's crazy because one of the things that I love about our friendship and most of my friends is that all of y'all let me obsess about work. So y'all know all I talk about is working or creating content, and not like in this like aesthetic way, but like, oh, what do you think about this topic? And we should discuss this. And I love that I don't have to think about that when we're talking. Like, I can call you and we'll talk about business for 3 hours and you won't have not one problem with it. And that's us catching up. That's us connecting. But for some people, if I call them and all I talk about work, it would be very offensive. Like, And so I love having the like-minded friendness and the businesses like we actually work together in work. And I love that, because for me, it's like, when would I talk to people if I couldn't talk about work? Like, I'm so damn busy.
Hey, I mean, shit,
you know what I'm saying?
This
like,
your lifestyle now.
This is my lifestyle. Yeah. Like, I'm building something, and this matters more to me. So having friendships that allow me to be myself, and also as I make new friends, it's really good to have a structure to look back on, to compare it to, and not compare the friendships, but saying, do I feel just as comfortable as I do in these friends? You know what I'm saying? These are friendships that I've had for 10 plus years, 12 plus years, whatever, and picking like that. So that's super important to me. How do you think we've changed since being friends?
Damn, that's a good ass question. Who wrote that?
Me. How do you think we've changed? And it's been 13 years.
I think the biggest change.
No. Actually, scratch that.
What?
What's the biggest change you've seen in me? And I'm gonna tell you the biggest change I've seen in you.
Okay, I think the biggest change I've seen in you is the willingness to. You're already a person that has to be involved in everything. Your hands got to be on it. You got to be touching it. And I think the biggest change I've seen in you is learning how to let go certain things that you felt like you had to hold on because it was something that you felt like if you gave it to somebody else, they wouldn't handle it with care or the similar care that you had. And we've talked about this with Sexual Essentials, even when you had the page and we were looking to outsource it to have someone manage the page other than you. And you was just, me and her had this conversation like goddamn like 10 times. And I could tell, she was triggered every time we talked about it. She was like, nope. I'll think about it. Nope.
I lost the whole damn page.
Yeah, and they lost the whole page. And I think that was and I told you that when you lost the page, it was a blessing in disguise because at one point you thought it was the end of the world.
You know what? It's so scary when you've built something from the ground up and you've bet everything on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't go back to corporate America. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the internet teaching this and that and everything else and having a child, from a different perspective of having a child and mind you, everything Sexual Essentials was started anyway, in spite of all of that. So it was fear. You know, and
But
you never scared of anything.
It's not that I'm not no, I wouldn't say that about me now. There is fear, but I do a lot of things in fear. Y'all talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Like, do it in fear, because if you don't do it at all, that's gonna be a regret of yours one day.
I love that fear is just an emotion to you. You like, it's an emotion. And then you're, like you said, you're practical. So you're like, okay, I feel the fear, which means that I probably should be doing it.
For me, is like if I get into a car accident right now.
Let's not say that.
Well, no. Just using an example.
Let's say something.
God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Lord, don't be playing with us. We having a good day.
So let's say if I get into a car accident and I hit another car, I could get out and anxiety kicks in, fear kicks in. I'm nervous, probably shaking up, etc. And
you might be shitting.
And you say what?
You said it might be shitting. You say, yeah, you might be.
So the way how my mind works is once I could get a control of my mind, I could turn off the fear and say, okay, is someone hurt? Am I hurt? Let me how could I fix this situation? Not that I'm a fixer, like fixing
your thought process.
My thought process.
Your thought
process. Because for me is if I stay in that fear and that anxiety, how is that helping the situation? Like it is not helping the situation.
Yes.
So for me, I have to get to that point fast, efficiently enough to say, all right, cool. Let me make sure I'm okay. The person I hit is okay. My bad. That probably was me. You know,
yeah.
Let's handle this in a very, very constructive way.
With a process.
Yeah. So when, you leave and I leave, that yes, it was a misunderstanding, it was a mistake that took place, but we're here now. Let's come to a common ground faster. Why we gotta sit here and argue and it could turn into something that completely negative.
You feel how you feel. I feel how I feel. Okay, so this is the process to approaching it.
And that's how I feel about fear. It's just like, when you feel it and when you sense it, allow yourself to feel it. But at the same time, don't allow it to put you in a stagnant place. You got to think fast or just pivot. Think about what can make this situation better. And that's how my mind works with everything.
So the biggest changes that I've seen in you, back in the day, you used to be Captain Save-A-Ho.
Oh, yeah.
And
the whole cape. You still got it?
No. And it wasn't out of like lack of self-love. It was just being such a good person and seeing good things in other people and wanting them to get to it.
Right.
And then I saw you put yourself first and say, you know what? I can't do anything for anybody that they can't do for themselves.
Right.
But then there was a bigger one. I saw how you dedicated your life to the process. There was a lot of times where I was like, well, what are you going to do next? And what are you going to do this? And you were like, I don't know. But I know that I have to figure out a process that, like, I watch how you have curated your routine over time. And so when anger, when anxiety, when stresses kick in, I watch the things that you've done every day pull you out of that. You know what I'm saying? And like your meditation walk every single day. Like you don't miss that. And I've watched you get angst. Like even when you've come in town for us to work and you like, I haven't been to the gym in 3 days. I have to go do something. It's a part of your daily routine. Right. And I watch how grounded you are as a reflection of that. And everything that you didn't know, you figured out, and in the midst of that, still did your routine. And now I'm watching you curate this Turo business, and in the matter of like 30 days, you had 3 cars? Now how many y'all got? Like
4.
4 cars, and y'all booked and busy, like y'all stay, you know what I mean? And now you're like, okay, now what do I do? How many more? Now you got all of us like, okay, hey, we want to invest our money with you. But it's like a couple years ago, even when, I had Sexual Essentials and it was booming and, Willie was graduating and everybody was moving around you. I watched you show up for them, clap for them, and you say, I'm going to stick to this process. I'm going to do, you know what I'm saying? Show up every day. I've watched you take a job and you're teaching middle schoolers and high schoolers and then watch them move you up into college education. I've watched them beg you to stay.
I did a lot of random shit.
You did, but you always did something that was a part of following the process and pouring into the steps, because it was like, you know what? I don't know what I want to do next, but I know that I'm going to need this, so let me get this out of the way now. Like, I watch you not overreact and take the what'd you say? What's the approach? Like logical.
Yeah,
logical approach. And
yeah.
I've learned that when I call you, you might let me vent. But I got 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes, depending on what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But after that, that next conversation is, how are we solving this? What are you going to do? You listen to it, and I appreciate that. Like you said, you have that in abundance, and that's how I've watched you change over years. I've watched you trust the process, and I love that for you. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, for me is I'm naturally a jack of all trades. So if I like something, then I'm gonna figure out every single possible way to do it, and then I'll do it. And I may hit the novice level or the beginner level or maybe the foundational level or maybe like middle tier. Maybe I'm a little bit of
You
an
don't need to
expert.
be advanced or proficient at
And
everything.
That's the thing. I'm not. I'm just not. And then my mind will be like, oh, I want to do this. And then I'll still have that skill set that I develop in this thing, then go to another thing and then go to another thing. So
You're
that's
very good with
just
change.
how-
You're very good with change.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I'm telling
I'll
you
sum it
that
up to
you.
that.
I'm telling you that you are. Change is constant, and I watch you. Even when you get comfortable, like I've never seen you stay at a job for more than 3 years.
Nah, you're leaving money on the table.
You're leaving money on the table. That's his process.
That's the practical side of me and the logical side.
But
of me.
it works,
Yeah.
and it works. And I watch you not get comfortable, so that way, when life changes and you didn't change it, you pivot faster than most people because you require yourself to change anyway. I watched you pick up a new book, take up a new skill. Like, you know what? I'm going to try this different for 30 days and see what it does. I watch you go through so much. You force yourself to go through change, so when it does come up in the work world or whatever, or in life, you're always okay. Like,
Well, the thing is, I don't hold on to stuff. Like it's just like that's why when the page got shut down for you, I knew how much it meant to you. But also, I said to you in that same breath, I said, "Look, it's time to pivot.
yeah,
It's time to do something else because of the business that people think you're in and you're not actually in it.
People think people think it's
you in
sex
a
work,
lot
but
of things,
they're not listening.
They
Yeah.
really don't know.
Well, if you're a Patreon follower, those are the people that's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah,
They know.
they're like, okay, she's not just teaching sex at all.
And that's the thing. It was just like when the page got taken down, I was like, look, like that shit sucks. And you worked your ass off. You built this business out of sticks and stones.
Yeah.
And I said, look, you're in a way better position from when you started Sexual Essentials. I said, if you could build that motherfucker from sticks and stones, think about what you could do, what you got now, nigga, goddamn. So it was just like, I had to let you know that. But at the same time, I couldn't keep drilling you with that. I wanted you to take the time to process or grieve what you had lost.
Yeah.
But I'm going to still tell you, like, hey, like, yo, like, there's a lot of money out here. Like, don't take too long now. Like, I'm going to give you some time.
Chin up, bro.
Keep
Chin
your
up,
chin
bro.
up. So that's how the conversation went. And I think over maybe a couple of weeks, you grieved.
You
and
watched
was
me find a process.
Yeah, and we had a conversation. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was driving one of my rentals back from a customer, and we spoke.
money.
And I was on 95 driving, and you were saying like, yeah, like, and I could do a house too. I said, let's do it all. I said, I'm with the shit. It's like,
Yeah.
let's do it all.
Yeah.
And look where the fuck we at.
And you know
we
what's-
sitting in the house.
Absolutely.
This was a phone call, bro. I don't think you realize the power of manifestation. Like, nigga, we had a phone call about this literally like fucking 4 months ago. Let it soak in. You got a fucking house, your shit, your podcast, your world. But let it soak in, seriously. You manifested this shit. That's powerful. That's one of the biggest thing I respect about you because it reminds me to continue to keep manifesting. So you have the power to manifest. Nigga, you masturbate and manifest. Like, nigga, who does that? How many times you masturbated for your birthday? nigga came on the internet and told the world, yep, I done masturbated 30 times for my 30th birthday. I'm like, nigga, it takes a lot of confidence to say some shit like that to the world. Like, you need your own podcast.
Oh my
Seriously.
God. I remember when Degion told me, you hella confident. I said, I am. He said, do you know what you be talking about on it? I love you, man.
You just be out here telling people that they pussy dry. It takes a lot of confidence to tell people that. I'm serious. Like,
you so damn funny.
that's the truth.
Look here.
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samia. I hope that you guys are loving the show.
Let's think about this name here. Not just another sex podcast means that some of it is absolutely sex. So if you're loving the content and you want to talk about this more, you need to join our Patreon community. There we have almost 300 hands-on classes, workshops, interviews, behind the scenes, and so much more. We even meet up once a week on Zoom to discuss the episodes. Did you relate to something? Did you have something to say? Or did you just need to talk about it a little more and meet other like-minded people? Patreon is definitely where you need to be. So don't hesitate. Look below, click the link, sign up, and I will see you at our weekly Zoom. All right, now back to the show. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
You should be.
I'm grateful.
It's a lot of blessings that has happened. Again, a lot of shit happened with the page not coming back, whether it's coming back or
and
not.
More, it was so much more than that. It was really just the final thing of learning to let go. And I've learned that. You've watched me learn that lesson the hard way.
Right.
You've watched me learn that lesson the hard way. And I feel like only until recently you saw me start letting go of things quick. Like, hold on, are you going too fast now? And it's like, but at the end of the day, what I'm learning is that what I admire in you is your intuition about yourself and understanding how you feel. I can tell Degion why something makes sense, and he will agree that does make sense, but that is not what I want to do. And I agree with you that makes sense, and I agree with you that is great. But nigga, I'm going home or whatever it is, and it's like, you know what? You can't convince you of you feeling anything else.
It's because I can't. If I can't hold on to what you're giving me because it doesn't do anything for me. But it may do something for you. Yeah. And that's why I'll say, look, like,
follow your thing. Sometimes we got to go separate ways.
And that's the thing is just like, if you want me to agree with everything you said, then you don't want to be my friend. Don't be.
You know what's crazy is me and Degion don't agree on a lot of things. A lot of shit. And not because we don't agree. It's just more so we do everything differently. Yeah. Everything that we do is differently. And so it's just like when people are looking for similarities, and you know what I've allowed myself to, what being friends with you in the last year has helped me realize is that I was not comfortable even saying that I want these type of traits in my man one day, because people be like, oh, see, this is why my friend, my nigga can't have no girl as a best friend and stuff like that. And it's like, y'all are sexualizing it. If you just take a moment and say, you know what? I really love that you do this. And guess what? I do everything differently than him, yet we still work out. We still have a respectful friendship, the way that we communicate, and I respect his opinion and I trust his opinion, and it's different from me. So one of the things I've looked for in the past is for similarities and partnerships. And that really hasn't gotten me where I needed to go, because I am me. Like you said, I now I'm looking for things that I want. Like I love that about, when I think about how I pick my friends, I'm like, you know, what if I took that approach when it comes to picking partners? And my friendships have done that for me, not just this one. Yeah. But think about it. All of you are different. Whenever your friend tells you, I don't want to go out, I don't want to do nothing, I mean, you give them a hard time, but you like, y'all, no, I want you to go do what you want.
But if it's your boo, it's the end of the world.
You mad and you took a nap, now we broke up, and it's all this drama, but you respect your friends. Yeah. You do respect your friends. You don't give them no issues. You want the best for them. You're not jealous of them. You're not trying to hold them to yourself. Well, me, you know, I hate sharing my friends, so I do try to hold my friends to myself. Y'all mine. But it's the respect. I'm just like, I want to see the way that I love on my friends and the way that my friends love on me in that space. I want to do more of that in relationships. And I don't think people allow themselves to even think that, because we scorned by the movie Brown Sugar, and end up with a best friend.
The thing is, we're not taught. We were never taught how to date. There was no rule book. There was no there's no real rule book on how to be a parent. Like, let's just be real. And it's one of those things that we watch movies, we watch TV shows, or we watch our friends who are around us, and we pretty much just do the same thing they did. They'll date somebody, and then they'll put this person on a podium, and in a box. When they do something that you disagree with, that your friend probably would do, you'll treat it differently because you don't view them as a friend. So I think it's a good approach to date like that. Like, hey, like, we got to be friends first. Yeah. Shit, we gotta be able to play Uno, laugh, cuss each other out, or Monopoly, whatever the case may be. We got to be able to do, things that I do with my friends. Yeah. Like, and if I can't do that with you, then why the fuck we talking?
And it's not overbearing. Like Degion has been with me. I mean, Degion took pictures at my wedding. and then held my hand through the divorce. Like, so he's been there for all those things. And this sounds like a lot, but it's not like I talk to this man every single day. You know what I'm saying? Or any of that. And I think that learning to have meaningful times when you're together is important, because when you do get in a relationship, you realize I don't need to see you necessarily especially new dating. Yeah. I don't need to see you every single day. I talk to you every single day. Like, I respect the way that you date with women. I love how you show up. Like, those are great examples for me when I'm looking at men, not to compare everything, but to say, you know what? I watch how a man with integrity moves, and I watch how when he says he wants to do something, he does it. And if he doesn't, and that goes with dating as well. Right. I respect you very much, because the way that you move, nobody knows. Only people that know are the people that you allow. And if you know how he moved, then it is an honor just to be called your friend. So
appreciate it.
You know, you alright or whatever. So some advice. We got some letters yet?
Well, what's the advice?
I don't know if we got no letters yet. I don't think we got no advice yet.
Oh, what's the advice? We supposed to get advice?
Oh, look at that. Nice.
The hospitality.
The hospitality at the SE Content House.
I'll be done. Okay.
Just want to let y'all know that the SE Content House has a open bar, has food, and all of that goodness. And, you know, you can help us pay the
water
bills.
That's good for your pH balance, too.
Yes, it's great water. If you want to help us pay these bills, please make sure that you subscribe to Patreon, order some merch, and all those good things. We're going to plug it. So let's move on to the advice. Make sure that you write us your advice letters. We know that we're just getting started, so we're being patient. But you can send in your advice letters to notjustanothersexpod@gmail.com. And today, what is your advice to people who are saying that men and women can't be best friends? What do you want to say to them? Or even people that don't have any friends of the opposite sex?
That's cap. I mean, that's what it is. It's a lie. It's
it's a little bit of a red flag to me.
It's a lie you tell yourself because you believe it can't happen. I'm of the mind, if you say this could happen in your life, then it'll happen in your life.
If you say it can't,
because other people have done it. So if there are use cases, if there are examples of it, then why the fuck you can't figure it out? It's probably something wrong with you.
There you go. It is a little bit of I know red flag is overused and running the ground or whatever, but whatever term y'all want to use, it is a little bit off-putting when I meet someone that doesn't have friends of the opposite sex, not because that part is the problem, but usually it's a part of a bigger scope of how that person thinks. And that may work for them, but the type of free person I am and the way that I love on my friends and, you know, how you guys have changed my life, it's like I could never give that up. And every time I meet a man that's like, nah, I ain't got no female friends, I can always tell. I could tell that you're not used to dealing with women. I could tell that you're not really being sensitive like that. And you're gonna think that I should not be friends with my best friend. That's not an option for me.
That's also a sign that they're not tapped into their feminine energy. So if a guy says that to you, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not gonna do well with feminine energy around you.
You're overly masculine at this point.
You're not gonna be able to have self-control. You may say something vile and think it's okay when it's really not okay. You may take some type of action or do something and you're like looking at him like, bro, like chill. And to me, there's a balance, because we both, you know, as a you know, you have masculine energy too, and feminine. You may be more feminine than masculine, but there's a balance, right?
It's a part of the process of bettering your emotional intelligence, hanging around both.
So I think for you like my masculine energy and I like your feminine energy. I think that's why we're really, really good friends. I think it starts there from the jump. Yeah, like when you meet somebody at first, right off the jump, you could tell, I'm gonna fuck with this nigga. Like, this nigga cool as shit. Yeah, or he'd be like.
And what's so crazy is we've been like this since day one and ain't had no issues. Like, this is my road dog, right? My road dog. And also, you guys, another perspective is that it might not even mean that you're a terrible person if you don't have any female friends, but I can say that having female friends if you're a guy, or vice versa if you're a woman, having male friends can enhance your life. I'm not going to say that you're a terrible person, even though every time I meet somebody that doesn't, they're kind of weird. But it can enhance your life.
Think about it from this standpoint. When somebody says, I can't have female friends, or I can't have male friends.
Why can't you?
What is the one thing that comes to mind?
that you gonna sleep with them if you have them. So
And
like you said, no
that's a
self-control.
form of you don't know how to control yourself.
Yeah.
Around other
Or you
motherfuckers.
think that men are for fucking if you're a woman, or as a woman, you
that's,
like,
and that's a fucked up mindset.
That is a fucked up mindset. And so it leads back to what he's like, I said what I said. If you don't have no female friends and you a man, and if you then that's weird. It never ends well. It's never a good situation. I just don't do it because I'm just like, right, you not gonna like who I am then. If you think that women should not have male friends, vice versa, we're not gonna get along because I'm too damn free to be you and me.
And for me, when I don't use the word friend loosely. If I consider you a friend, I consider you family. Yeah. Because for me, people who are, blood related to me, those are relatives. And some of them, I don't even see them as family. I'm going to just keep it real. I'm very related, honest people.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. So for me, it's just like, if I see you as a friend, I see you as somewhat family. So it's kind of like, you're saying to me that you can't have family around you because you're afraid of what's going to happen, especially if it's the opposite sex. So that tells me, it gives you it's a certain perspective you have, and I disagree with it.
I understand.
Have either one of you ever thought about each other in a sexual way? You're talking about all this friendship. How you guys are? But answer the question.
Yeah, put us on the spot.
I don't like her. So the Peanut Gallery has a question. Because we're real people and we have real jobs. We sneeze and stuff. And so it's real people in here listening. So if y'all just heard this little sidebar, the question that has been asked, have y'all ever thought about each other like that? Tell us the tea. I have. I considered it. And I'll just be totally honest. For me, it wasn't until 2022 was the first time that I even was like, are we tripping? And it was more so because I was like, you know what? I do love this man. Like, you can't tell me that I don't. And this is the type of man I want in my life. But also, it's people like, y'all are just so great and da-da-da-da. This is exactly why I don't listen to motherfuckers now. What works for me, work for me. Like, I said what I said, but people ask you the same fucking question 1,000 times. And depending on when you catch me, like, and at that time, I was going through a hard time. And it was just like, Samia, you're good. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the point of having a good friend. My friend knows that's not... this isn't what you know what I'm saying? Like what you want. There are checks and balances there. And for the longest, I was very uncomfortable. Well, not even longest because this lasted like a month, y'all.
She's so damn dramatic.
It's so fun. But for me, it was a big thing. You remember, because I tell my best friend everything. So I told him. I was like, this how I've been feeling. But also, I never got to the point that I could picture us sexually. That's how I was like, oh, no, that would never work then. If I can't picture fucking, then I know that, girl, you just talking some shit. But I did get a lesson out of it. And the lesson for me that I got out of it was the response. When I told him what I was thinking, it was his response to, I'm really touched that you feel that way. Like, of course, he was like, I don't feel that, and I don't think you feel that either. But that was the truth. He was like, I don't think you feel that either. But
I did say that.
He did.
It sounds so bad.
But to me, it didn't, because it's also the tone. Like, he was like, Samaya, I know how big that is for you. Because, for the longest, I thought that if a woman even slept with a friend, that, oh, that means you're a hoe or you're this and that. And that came from trauma in my household, from my mom. My first best friends, in high school, my closest friends, not just your elementary, this my best friend come home. My closest friends were men who are still in my life today. And she just always asked me, are you sleeping with them? Are you doing this with them? And so that made me think that's what people do. And that's a terrible ideology. And it was there. And mind you, when I thought I liked my friend, I went to therapy. Went to my therapist and was like, bitch, what the fuck is this? And she was like, there's a lesson out of here and you're missing it, And so it wasn't until I spoke up about it that I got the lesson. And the lesson was, no one should be offended if you love them or like them. Right. No one should be offended by that. That's not how you treat someone. At the end of the day, if you're not proud or happy that a friend feels whatever, you can always set it straight, and you can set it straight in love, And it also told me, who cares what the fuck people say? People thought that it was great that my husband was who he was, and it wasn't great for me. You know what I'm saying? Who cares what people think? So now people say, oh, it's you and your best friend are great. You should be with your best friend. I'm going to do it because of them. Like, that's not how it works.
Right.
But it goes back to just the importance of being friends with somebody who does know themselves and who can say, you know, I understand why you felt that way or how that happened. But also being there for me and saying, like, I know that was a big thing for you. Like,
yeah. No, it was because I know you, and I've known you for quite some time now. So when you say something like that to me, I have to take it seriously. I can't, you know.
you didn't even joke. You did not say one sarcastic thing.
Typically, I'll joke about some shit like that.
Oh, he make fun of me even at terrible times.
24/7.
Like, I could be crying and he be like, that's crazy. Like,
I can't help it.
But
if you want to be my friend, that's what comes with
he
the
gonna
package.
laugh inappropriately every time.
But no, when you shared that with me, I realized what you were doing. I realized how hard it was for you to have that conversation. And I know you didn't want to have the conversation. It was just like out of therapy. It was just like, yo, you need to talk about this, because if you keep holding on to it, then it may carry some type of weight on your conscience and whatnot. But to answer your question, in the beginning, when I first met Samia, we instantly click. And it was under the same perspective or context you were saying that when you meet someone, you click with them, y'all hella cool, you friends, da 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 da.
So
y'all supposed to end up together. So in the beginning, like in the first 2-3 years of our friendship, I was like, I can see this shit happening eventually.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it didn't happen is because I believe that there are certain people in my life that benefit me in a way, and vice versa. Benefit me in a way that I'm not supposed to go there with them, because I'm supposed to go there with them in another context. Like we
business.
We supposed to be together in business. There's no question about that.
We make money.
There's no question about that. So because you call me all the time and we'll talk, and I guess whenever we talk, I bring something out of you where you're allowed to think clearly.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't all the time now. but
I try my best.
It may take 2 or 3 phone calls. We'll talk and hash it out. And then she'll be like, I get it. I get what I need to do. I said, all right, cool, you good. And then I'll realize, like, I'll be talking to you and I'll just be talking. And then you'll be like, that's a great idea. And I'm like, damn, that is a good idea. I just said some
profound shit.
Some profound shit.
Yeah.
So for me, is you bring that out of me as well.
I see you.
Yeah, you bring that out of me, and the thing is, I didn't realize I had that until I went into business with you. Because the more we talk, I'll say some shit. You be like, yo, that's a dope ass idea. I'm like, it is.
If he give me an idea, I'ma run with it, and I'ma build a house with it when it comes to business. Like business. This is definitely one of my favorite people to talk about money with, for sure.
Oh yeah,
we could talk about money forever.
If you want to talk about money, call me.
Big money.
Because I like to talk about money.
Big money. Because when you talk about money, at the end of the day, you're still talking about character, because it's talking about how you get the money and everything. Like, this man makes me better. And I realize that even in the future, if, like, especially when dating someone, somebody may be like, damn, you ever fuck around with your best friend? That's a fair question. The answer is no. I ain't never kissed a man. I barely hug him. It's like, when I see him, it's like, what up, gang, gang?
We give each other a church hug.
A church hug, a little dap. And it's just both of us are not really like that. Like, we have a similar, like, the body keeps score when it's talking about, like, how we grew up. And, like, we both came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? But in different ways. But we come from nothing, and our dreams are very similar. So I would tell somebody the truth, like, oh, this is what happened. It happened. You know, I thought I liked that nigga for a month, but he's just my best friend.
That's another thing. Like, the thing you mentioned, quote unquote, we got it out the mud, and you really did get it out the mud, nigga. You from the hood. She come on here and
you know what's so funny?
She's from the hood, but in that same breath, look at the amount of shit she has accomplished. And the thing that's one of the biggest thing I respect about you, because we came from nothing, and you didn't allow that to hinder where you wanted to go. Yeah, you tried the 9 to 5. You tried that.
I tried my
you
very
tried
best.
Your best.
I tried my very best.
Whole lot of anxiety between staying or leaving, right? But knowing that the fact that you didn't come from nothing, you're like, man,
You
fuck
knew
this
my
job.
biggest fear was both of us was always like we'd never be broke again.
Oh no.
And
that's
for
what motivates me.
absolutely
The fear of being broke.
this is the
I wanna
difference.
be
This
broke.
is the difference between me and Dejon's story. I'm from St. Louis, and I'm not saying St. Louis is the hood, but if you're from there, you understand how difficult it is. And for anybody that's from a small town or whatever, how difficult it is to leave where you're at, right? And venture off. But also, Dejon comes from, this is all we had.
Yeah.
And I come from a family where I was made to think that we didn't have enough. So we would have stuff and I just wasn't allowed to have it or touch it, or no, you need to pay for that on your own. Like college on your own. You need to, you know what I'm saying? Like when I even went to college, my parents was like, well, if we sign this, you need to pay it back to us. Like going to college like that. So it's like always seeing that there was some money within reach, but not being allowed to touch it. You know what I'm saying? And just the mental and the physical of what really was going on. Like even when I told Dejon my whole truth of everything that had happened, all he was like was, man, I'm proud of you then. Like, and it's the lifestyle and the struggle that made it hood for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like did I grow up in the projects? Absolutely not. But everything I grew up around doesn't feel like love. Everything did not feel like love. That's not cool. That ain't cool. But I would say that that's a similarity that we have, that we're both scared of being broke and having nothing. And the way that we handle that is differently. And I'm not ashamed. I love the fact that I'm not ashamed of a thing that I have felt. And I realize I can't be in things, in friendships. And I'm not. And you were the first person to tell me that. There's nothing to be, like, don't be embarrassed about that. He's like, I'm honored that you think that way, that you know what I'm saying, think that way about me. And what I learned was a lesson. When someone likes you, they don't treat you mean. When they love you, they don't treat you mean, even if they don't agree or feel the same way. And so it set a precedence for me for everything after that. You know?
On that note, I could understand how it could go in a negative way if you were to ask someone else that you may probably consider a friend or et cetera, right?
Yeah.
So, to play devil's advocate, whenever you're having that conversation with somebody, you need to know what their emotional intelligence is like.
Absolutely. Everybody's not mature enough.
Everybody's
to
not
handle
mature
things
enough
like
to have that conversation, right? Because I'm sure other women and other men have felt that way about their best friend and didn't want to have the conversation because of their emotional intelligence, or maybe they wasn't mature enough, or maybe it was just the fear of having the conversation of just ruining the conversation.
Ruining the friendship, scaring about ruining the friendship. You can't ruin a friendship.
I think that's a good compass to let guide you. You need to make sure that the person is ready to have the conversation. And I think when you had the conversation with me, it was a reflection of how you viewed me, in the sense of, he'll be fine if we have this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up with the spiritual tip of the day. And the spiritual tip of the day, first of all, claps to us for having that. So to answer all y'all questions, no, I do not be fucking on this nigga. Goddamn. Please go get a
It's
fucking
like
life.
the whole room was watching this, wondering the same shit. Like, that's what I felt when she asked the question. She was like, hey, we got a question, Rick. Come here.
But we're going to end off with the spiritual tip of the day. The spiritual tip of the day definitely becoming one of my favorite parts of the show, where we just allow for astrology tip or crystals or earthy, my hippie side to come out, because spirituality has been a huge healer and profound thing in my life. But today is going to be a simple one. What does being a Capricorn mean? Being a Capricorn. So when it comes to the zodiac, there are 12 of them, and my dog right here, he is a Capricorn, and this is just a learning opportunity. When Capricorn shows up, Capricorn represents money. That's why you do your taxes in January. That's when it's the money time of the year. So when you think about the calendar first being made, you have to understand that people looked at the stars and all that stuff when they picked and all these things. And Capricorn shows up with money, groundedness, and a sense of self. And so when you look at your birth chart, we've talked about this a little bit before, but again, it's just a tip. When you look at your birth chart and Capricorn shows up, that's a area where you're grounded. That's an area that has money. Like in that area, if you look at your Venus and it says you're a Capricorn in Venus, that means that you show up in that thing Venus as a Capricorn. If it says that your moon sign is a Capricorn, that means that moon represents emotion. Your emotions, you act like a Capricorn. Big money, you're grounded in that area. And that's just a little bit, you guys. I'm not an expert at these things, but I'm trying to hopefully plant a seed. So you can go to cafeastrology.com if you want to read more about
Shout out to all the Capricorns out there.
the big monies, Capricorns out there. And you can look up what Capricorn means, and then look at your chart and see if Capricorn shows up. And that's how you start learning how to read your birth chart. So I want to thank my best friend for being on today. Tell the folks where they can find you. Tell them about the rental company if they need a car. We will make sure we put all this information below. And before he wraps up, I want to remind you guys, if you enjoy the conversations and you want to chime in, especially, I know everybody has a best friend out there and you want to chime in, whatever. We meet up weekly on Patreon to discuss the podcast episodes. Sometimes the guest joins us. Sometimes it's just a reflection. If you want to just chime in and say, oh, this is what I was thinking this and whatever, this is a chance for you to share. So make sure you join the Patreon, as well as there's over 250 something classes, workshops, everything on sex there. But also there's a community. So it's not just for you to listen, but we want to hear back from you. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. And my dog gonna close us out and tell us where you can find him.
Well, y'all can find me in my bag. I don't want y'all to follow me. So just if you're trying to get to the bag, just let me know, because I'm trying to get to the bag too. That's what
You can find me in my bag. Okay.
Because that's the only place I want to be found.
Look here. There you go.
I mean,
and period. So
anywhere else is I'm good.
Absolutely. Don't forget that negativity makes your pussy dry, and if you want to wear that on a shirt, that you can get that
I didn't
from
realize you switched the okay.
I'll switch it up on them.
Switch it up
you
on
know,
them.
I was in my bag.
Like I told you, I went to the gym the other day and I wore the sweats. It said
The negativity make your pussy dry?
The girl at the front desk, she was just like, I fuck with your sweats.
You welcome. You welcome. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode. Love you, friend. Happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it.
Make sure y'all tune in next week. Follow, share, rate, review, and we out. Bye.